Sadnam. We are Jen and Ramtin from Heart Center Revolution.
Our intention with this podcast is to share the best of Kundalini Yoga and conscious living with you so you can live a more heart-centered life. Welcome back for episode 9 of the Heart Centered Revolution podcast. In this episode, we talk about the second or Svadhishthana chakra and Kundalini Yoga. If you want a little bit of background, you can check out episode 6, which is about the chakra system in general, or episode 7, which is about the first chakra. But before we jump into Ramtin's class about the second chakra, I just want to review some of the basics. So the second chakra is centered around the reproductive organs, and the navel. And the element that's associated with it is water. The color that's associated with it is orange. The mantra for the second chakra is I feel. And the things you can do to balance it, or you can do your creative activities. You can draw, paint, knit, those kinds of things. You can spend time near rivers or the beach. You can try Kundalini Yoga, or you can socialize with others. Those things all help balance the second chakra. You can know if your second chakra is out of balance, then you'll feel like you'll have a low libido. You'll feel creatively depleted. You might engage in addictive behavior of one sort or another, and you can feel lonely. And when your second chakra is in balance, you feel your connection to others. You have a strong sexual identity. You feel a sense of self-worth. You feel passion for life, and you feel creative. So now we'll join Ramtin in his class, and then afterwards I will guide you through a pranayam that creates a calming of any fear, anxiety, or worry that you might be experiencing. And we'll join Ramtin now.
And of course, every kriya we do, every Kundalini kriya systematically works every chakra, bringing the energy up, connects, makes us aware. It's not that at any point we're disconnected, from our body, from our soul, from our higher consciousness. We always are. Otherwise, we wouldn't be a human being. We wouldn't be alive. We always are connected, that awareness. But the awareness of it, that are we connected? Are the chakras working together? And how it is. In a conscious manner, as we get into our daily life and change our direction, our focus, and get into that altered state of consciousness, which is hypnosis as we know it, we're not aware, we're not conscious, we're not, as we're supposed to be in our environment, enjoying life and whatever it is. And we, in our microcosm of our life, we notice that, as we try to focus on a certain task, certain thing, we at that time we were scattered, right? Feel scattered, unfocused. And that not being aware, having our whole attention as a whole being present in that moment, what we're doing, lets us know that. And also, at the same time, when we need to relax, when we need to go deeper within, and when we need to connect with our higher self, we feel a lack there sometimes as well, right? Not allowing ourselves to just let go, connect with our higher self, because we're so focused on a certain task, right? So focused on our problems, mainly is like a negative thing, a negative issue. So it all works together. And as we were able to focus on a certain thing, and we satisfied that part of our awareness or consciousness, what we created, then we are able to focus easy or let go of whatever we're focusing on and relax and just be and just connect with everything, and it all works together. So the chakras are the way it resembles, our energy points in our body is symbolic of the levels of consciousness that exist in the universe. and it's the levels of creation, levels of consciousness that through how something becomes manifested in our life. So in order for us to really, when we see something as manifested, is when it comes to a physical existence, right? And that actually occurs and happens when we are in touch with our lower chakras, our first, second, and third chakra, lower triangle. And as powerful as we are as human beings, we could act by focusing only on that aspect of our manifestation power. I mean, look at this world we've created. Majority of it as it is, in the business world, in our relationships even, and in our, society, every aspect of us works together for a certain manifestation. Again, it's just our awareness. Are we aware of it or not? So, but by focusing only on just the physical aspect of things, doing things, working, and establishing things, and studying, certain things, aspects of it, the mindset and our behaviors and this and that, we have created so much, right, in our life, and it's working in a certain way, but it's not complete. That's why a lot of us, we notice that emptiness, and the more aware you are about how you are, some have that inclinations of there's more to this. I need to be connected. I need to you don't feel whole, So because we've been conditioned through the environment. By environment, I mean our educational system, our entertainment system, our families, culture, even our spiritual aspect, which is mainly through religion. We tend to think, in a certain way, in very individualized way, right? So study of chakras not only brings awareness to this energy vortexes within us as who we are and how they work together, and the understanding of how they work together and there's really one system, makes us aware of how we could manifest things and how we could be complete at, being healthy, just feeling complete, having a better relationship, everything to everyone and everything to this earth, to our higher self, and everything that exists. So the second chakra, we talked about first chakras before, as a foundation. The element related to first chakra is the earth. So our foundation is more solid, and we need to create that foundation for ourselves. And depending on, as sometimes some people who are born into a certain family system, a cultural system, that that foundation is created for them, is more established, to have more connection, and therefore it makes it a little easier for them to create other things, But that doesn't mean they're complete, If part of their training or studies or the way they were brought up doesn't have that spiritual aspect to it, understanding of your who you are and connection to your source. I mean, of course, they're going to feel a little bit of lack, something, and it's going to affect parts of their life. And what they do, if they don't have the places like here, or studies, or practices like this, they go see a doctor, right? They go, they think something is wrong, right? That's the first thing we need to get out of our mindset, that we perceive things as being wrong. If I feel pain in my body, if emotionally I feel a little not up to par or whatever, it's a signal. It is an indication. If your emotions are indications of something is going in the path of least resistance for you what your intentions are or not. You got to listen to it. You got to work with it. And if you utilize that where something is wrong, meaning opposite of what you want to accomplish or what you want to do, how you want it to be, that's fine. But wrong as like to brings out, if it's wrong, that word wrong or now brings a lot of fear, negative emotion. If that word brings that emotion that is supposed to be emotion, make you aware of, okay, there's something that needs to be changed. Then you need to work with that. That's why words are important. Utilizing your vocabulary that you use, your language, and most importantly, the language. I mean, the association that you have with that language, with what you use. So the element for second chakra, which we're going to work on today, is water. Water is more fluid, doesn't have shape, and relates to feelings. So that second chakra has to do with feelings, has to do with our sexuality, and how we understand and how we interpret and how we associate with that part of who we are. What is sexuality? It's a way of creation, creating things. So if that part of ourselves, that area, that energy vortex, is blocked for one way or another, you don't feel as much creative, right? That's where you see, we notice a lot of sensuality in the artist's way. People who are in art, painting, music and such. Because that affects that area of our energy. And if you notice, the elements that are associated with that part of our energy vortex, first and second. Again, first is earth element, more of a solid foundation. Water is the second. And with water, what does water do? It just travels, towards the lowest path, that path of least resistance, in a certain speed. There's certain calmness associated with that, and as water moves in a certain on earth consistently and repetitively, it shapes the earth in a certain manner, right? So therefore, with the same way, with the feelings and the emotions that are associated with that seventh chakra and second chakra, and how you utilize it, how you become aware of the emotions and really tap into that energy source and able to balance your own emotions, calm yourself down and direct it in a certain way, you're able to form the foundation as you like with those feelings and emotions. That makes sense? Yeah. So, a couple of things about second chakra specifically. If you, for example, notice, you become aware that your second chakra needs a little bit more work, for balancing and strengthening. Most of the kriyas says that we do have more or less few of the kriyas for every chakra. So camel pose, frogs are very good, and camel pose are very good for second chakra. Frogs especially. Cat cow is good for everything. The cat cow, I do cat cow every day. Cat cow is kind of warm up that we're gonna do. Is very good to stretch and pose that we do. So the area for second chakra is lower back, sexual organs, your pubic bone above the pelvis, your pelvis, your kidney, bladder, prostate, all those areas have to do with the second chakra. And the right for second chakra is the right to feel. Notice a lot of people who, I work with some people who had some traumatic experiences, post-traumatic disorder thing, and a lot of people who abuse substances, they're disassociate their feelings, with their rest, with their body and their feelings, and that's a protective mechanism. Again, we don't look at it as something is wrong. That's the intelligence of the system to protect them, to survive. And we continuously get in that survival mode now. If our body, intelligence of the body has to correct itself, and parts of the body has to compromise for other part. And if we don't see this whole system as one, and we don't allow the energy to flow evenly and in a balanced way throughout the whole body, then one part has to compromise for the other, and therefore there's a certain, dis-ease that occurs in our body. The issues that could occur in this area is if, that be emotions, of course, negative emotions. And we get those negative emotions, we tend to just dwell in those negative emotions all the time, which is a huge part. Our sexuality, our sensuality, we don't see those things as positive thing, right? If you're always bombarded with the message that, this is sinful, this is wrong, that is that, how are we going to, the association we have, how are we going to be able to, utilize that energy, that sexual energy in a positive way, in a spiritual way, and in a creative way. And as we associate that creativity in that, sexual energy, we act differently. We create our relationships around it differently, right? We don't utilize it for just pleasure, which is not bad, but as again, the intention and the mindset behind it is different. We don't shy away from it, from discussing it, from talking about it. It's part of who we are. So the goal is being able to have pleasure and connection to that part of who we are. When pleasure could be anything, right? You're eating something, smelling, listening to music, walking, communication, sitting, anything that you add that aspect to it. Emotional comfort and connectedness and merging. See, that's what a sexual encounter could be. That part is becoming one. And if that is a very spiritual act, right? That white tantric is about that. It's bringing the masculine and the feminine energy together. They call it male, female, but masculine energy. That bringing is about. So the second chakra is about duality. Now, duality is not being. We have interpreted it, and a lot of people do it. Even the most renowned, psychologists and gurus. And the duality is not separatedness. Duality is being able to work with both aspects of who you are, the physical aspect, the mortal aspect, with the infinite aspect of who you are. Being able to be a human being, this physical human being, and an enlightened being at the same time. A lot of people use spirituality as an escape. Even the meditations have come to, you have to quiet your mind, you have to, you don't have to quiet your mind, you're not supposed to quiet your mind. Your mind becomes quiet as a side effect of your meditation. Meditation is what is. You sit, that's meditation. And then thoughts come in, oh, that's meditation. You remember, oh, I have to go, to the dentist, which I have to do after this. That's meditation. And what do you do with that thought? That's the important part. Oh my God, I have to go to the dentist. It's so waste of my time or whatever, or I'm afraid, or it's gonna hurt. Well, that's a meditation. Or I'm grateful for that dentist who's gonna work on my teeth and help me to be healthier, to chew better. It has to do with my throat chakra. helps my digestive system. Second chakra. That's meditation. So being able to bring that duality and live in duality in a very holistic way, that's part of second chakra. That's part of the energy of second chakra. So emotions, again, if that duality becomes isolation, becomes separation, then it's an issue that occurs in the second chakra. And if you have that, you could work on your second chakra, and vice versa. And when you work on your second chakra, those issues go away. Instability, numbness. So again, if you feel certain numbness, I had that actually in my arms and legs. And why is that? Why is numbness important? Why is that associated with second chakra? Because we numb ourselves not to feel. We numb ourselves to not to be aware of the negative emotions that we know in our mind. That's the intelligence of our system. We are so powerful as human beings, and every little thing about our body represents that intelligence that resides within us. So these are the beauty of understanding these things, this so-called, it's not philosophy, it's not just like a yogic philosophy, it's science. And where does science come from? Science comes from spirit. Science comes from you. You create science. If we weren't here, science wouldn't be. And if our source energy didn't have the intelligence to create what is created on this earth, then we wouldn't be here. Everything is systematically designed for us to be who we are. There's an amazing intelligence behind all of this. And intelligence is different from being smart. All of us, all of the human beings, any one of us is very smart at one thing or another. And with smartness, when you're smart, you could create a lot of things, as we have. You create roadways, companies, government systems. That's being very smart. But are you intelligent to receive, to be open-minded, to connect with the intelligence of your higher self? That's different than being smart. And not only utilizing the technology of the sound, they could play music or some kind of visualization, but also their own mindset, their own whole body. Just by the intention of moving the energy, which is real energy, or your thoughts, just think about right now, however you're sitting. I'm going to bring the energy, move a white light from the base of the spine all the way to the top of the head. Thinking about it, that's it. You align your energy. That's how powerful we are. And that's what this practice brings us. To be able to do that at a split second. And that's what the repetition of the meditations and the practices, sadhana, and every day our practices do for us. That you need it in that split second. You're driving, when you're talking to someone, when you're in an unknown circumstance. Your heart starts beating, everything. And that's a natural reaction. It's a fight-flight. That's for your protection. It's a warning. Doesn't mean that situation is harmful. It's that you perceive it as harmful. And that's enough for you to now react to it in such a manner. But now you have the system, breathing, you have the tools to reverse that. Give yourself the opportunity, the time to be able to become more conscious and not get back into that fear mode, that subconscious protection behavioral system to bring about that warning to you. So that's the job of the subconscious mind, to bring about the warning, and now you have the conscious decision-making mind to reverse that by not damning that, that condition or that, fight-flight, but just say, okay, thank you. Goes to any illness, anything else. All right, so little things about second chakra.
And that is it for Ramtin's class on the second chakra. I just loved listening to that discussion so much. And the only thing I really feel called to elaborate on or just put a really fine point on was his comment in the beginning that we're never, as much as sometimes on the spiritual path it might feel like we get disconnected and then reconnected, we're not actually ever disconnected from our highest self or the infinite or the universal consciousness. It's just our awareness of the connection that gets turned on and turned off. And that's usually through our own behaviors. But I just love that reminder that connection is always there. It's just our awareness that wavers. Our pranayam for today is called 1 minute breath. And it's a great technique to help you stay calm. As life gets kind of crazy and hectic, we can feel worried and overwhelmed, store tension in our body, and 1 minute breath is a wonderful way to reduce that tension. It, however, is a difficult pranayam, and it might be in your best interest to start with maybe a 3-minute breath or 2-minute breath, and then begin 1 minute breath. So what a 1 minute breath is it's one cycle of breath per minute. And so what we do is we inhale for 20 seconds, suspend the breath for 20 seconds, and exhale for 20 seconds. So I'm going to lead us through a 1 minute breath, but if it's too difficult or if you feel yourself straining against the breath, please take it down a notch. Maybe inhale for 10 seconds, hold for 10, exhale for 10, and you can just count it in your head, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, that kind of a thing, as you build up the practice. If you feel out of breath or start to feel panicky, release the breath and go into a normal breath pattern or long, deep breathing for a few moments, for a few breaths, and then you can resume the 1 minute breath practice. The benefits of 1 minute breath include increasing the cooperation between your right and left hemispheres of the brain. Like I said before, calming the feelings of anxiety, fear, or worry. It can help you develop intuition, and it helps your whole brain work, especially the old brain and the frontal hemispheres, to allow them to work together. I also find that it allows you to, if you can stick with the breath without straining too difficult, it allows you to notice that your mind will kind of freak out when it's not appropriate or when you're not actually in any true danger. So as we suspend the breath for 20 seconds, the mind kind of starts going, like that's what my mind does, at least. That's how it feels to me. But if you can connect with the part of you that's higher than your body and that lives forever, then you can calm down and you can see that you are separate from that voice in your mind that freaks out, and that voice in your mind freaks out sometimes over things that are not actually dangers. Like holding your breath for 20 seconds will not harm you. And so the part of your mind that kind of freaks out, it just brings this awareness of the role of that voice in our life. So to begin our pranayam, if you're sitting down, sit up tall, lift up your heart center, shoulders up, back and down. You can put your hands in Gyan Mudra, thumbs to pointer finger, eyes closed, crown of the head lifted, chin gently tucked and pulled back. We'll take a couple long, deep breaths to begin. Inhaling deeply, belly, ribs, and chest. Exhaling, chest, ribs, and belly. Inhaling, belly, ribs, and chest. Exhaling, chest, ribs, and belly. Continue doing a couple of these breaths on your own. A couple of hints for 1 minute breath, or to just get comfortable. We're going to relax in our breath for a few minutes here before we get started. And a good key is to make sure that we're exhaling completely when we do 1 minute breath, because that way you can take a longer inhale. So let's inhale together. Exhale all the air out. And then begin your inhale, long and slow, like you're sipping it through your nose through a straw. Finishing your breath, inhaling completely. Suspend the breath gently, keeping the shoulders relaxed, the face relaxed. If you feel the urge to breathe, take a little sniff of an inhale. Okay, exhale gently, slowly compressing the shoulders and ribs. And then moving to the belly. Exhaling completely. Now inhaling for our second 1-minute breath. Inhaling with control and slowly. Complete your inhale. Suspending the breath. Eyes are closed and focused at the third eye. Body is relaxed. The mind may be talking to you, but let your soul and your being be relaxed. Begin exhaling slowly and gently, starting with the chest, then the ribs, and finally the navel comes back. Finishing your exhale, begin your inhale. Finishing your inhale, suspending the breath. And exhaling gently, in control, slowly exhaling. Pushing the final bits of air out of your belly. Beautiful. Inhale completely. Exhale. And let your breathing return to normal, keeping the eyes closed. Check in with yourself. See what mental, emotional, or spiritual shifts you experienced after doing just 3 minutes of 1-minute breath, or whatever your closest approximation to 1-minute breath was. It's recommended that you can work up to the 1-minute breath. So as I said, you could start by inhaling for 10 seconds, holding for 10, and then exhaling for 10. You could even start with 5 seconds if you needed to. And you do that for a couple of days, and then you can increase it to 15 seconds, and then you can increase it to 20. But I found that the key is to not just jump into 1-minute breath, but to do 2 or 3 minutes of long, deep breathing or another breath practice first, so that your body and your nervous system is fully relaxed. If you start to do 1-minute breath while you have tension or kind of energy coursing through you, then you feel depleted sooner, and it makes it more difficult to do a 1-minute breath. We'd love to hear from you, love to hear your experience with this pranayam. And that is it for the 9th episode of our podcast. As always, we are grateful to you for listening. We appreciate all of the love and support that we have received from the people listening to our podcast. It's just completely blown us away. As a reminder, our next episode is our Q&A episode. We actually have so many questions. I think we're going to do a 2-part. So the next 2 episodes may be Q&A episodes. So we'd love to share more with you about the podcast there. And if you are enjoying this, please share it with a friend, your fellow yogi. Next time you go to a class, just spread the word so we can continue growing our student base and help as many people enjoy and learn more about the wonderful teachings of Kundalini Yoga as possible. We want to spread this practice around the world. We love you. Thank you for listening, and may the longtime sun shine upon you. Sat Nam.